Hey folks, welcome back. I'm Adam Welch. Thanks a lot for joining me again. If you remember, I guess 3 or 4 weeks ago now, I did a review of this little nugget from the Colorado Tripod Company. That is their Highline mini ball head. I love that. I still can't get over how tiny it is. But if you followed me for any amount of time, you'll also know that generally up until recently, this has been my ball head of choice for most of my work. That's the Colorado Tripod Company's medium Highline ball head. I've recently started using some fluid heads, so I don't use this one quite as much, but we'll talk about all that in a minute too. Today, however, we're going to be talking about this little guy. This was sent to me from the Colorado Tripod Company to test out. This is their small Highline ball head. It is more or less the tweener version between the Highline medium and the Highline mini. Works out pretty good. So yeah, there's a few things you're going to want to know about this. We're going to take a look at the specs, we're going to weigh it, do all the usual stuff, and then we're going to talk about some of the options that is available with this ball head, especially the clamp systems that are available for it. And then hopefully we'll know if this will be something you might want to stick on top of your tripod. So let's get down to business. We're going to take a look at the specs from the Colorado Tripod Company's website and compare it to the real world specs that we're going to weigh and measure here at home. Alrighty folks, let's take a quick look at the Colorado Tripod Company's small Highline ball head. First up, let's talk about the overall capacity of this little ball head. How much can it actually carry? According to Colorado Tripod's website, this thing will hold 50 pounds. Now that's about 23 kilograms. For most of us, that's going to be plenty of wiggle room for the camera setups we're going to be running, unless you're doing some kind of really heavy duty cinematic stuff with some extra LCDs, big microphones, huge lenses, that sort of thing. This little small Highline ball head should take care of you just fine. This particular model is made completely from aircraft aluminum. According to the Colorado Tripod Company's website, this little ball head weighs about 0.7 pounds. That's 334 grams. But of course, we're going to measure that ourselves. Get it zeroed out here. I've got it set to grams. We're looking at 345 grams or so. So that's a little bit more than the 334 grams that's listed on the website, but I'm going to tell you why that is. This is their pre-production quick release clamp. It is a little bit heavier than the other clamp option that you have, is the regular twist knob clamp. Now this is a little bit older version, as is my medium ball head here. You can see that the stippling on the knobs is a little bit different with this new version. These are kind of angled. Again, we're going to get to that in just a second. But the knob clamp is a little bit lighter than the quick release clamp, so I'm pretty sure that's the discrepancy in the weight here. Usually Colorado Tripod Company is pretty spot on with their listed and actual specs. So that is the weight. Let's talk about the dimensions of this little guy. From the top of the clamp to the panning base, it is listed as 3.7 inches on the Colorado Tripod Company's website. That's 97 millimeters. Let's take a look. Let's go with millimeters first. That's at the base of the pan head. Yeah, we can see it a little bit better. So base of the pan head, that's looking more or less spot on, 95 millimeters. Turn him over. I'm showing actually just under 3.7 inches, but of course, you got the angle to deal with. I don't think I have that directly perpendicular to the ball head itself. So, I mean, for all intents and purposes, all practical purposes, the specs are accurate on the website. And since we're here, why not? Let's just go ahead and measure the pan base too. Let's see, I'm showing about 50 millimeters, and on the website it is 50 millimeters. Just to note, this is a 40 millimeter ball, to kind of give you some perspective on that. Okay, so let's take a walk around this ball head. You'll notice it's got an extra knob when compared to our Highline Mini. I think I mentioned this in the review of the Highline Mini, that it lacked the friction adjustment knob. I call it the auxiliary adjustment knob. What this does is control the overall ease of movement of the ball head itself. So if you want it to move more loosely, more willy-nilly there, if you want it to move a little more firm, you can adjust that with a friction knob. Personally, I don't use it as much for that as I do to really crank down and lock the ball head into place for long exposures in case I'm running a big lens system for an extended amount of time, extended exposure, like for some astrophotography work. That virtually eliminates any kind of camera drift that you're likely to run into. Really, 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 really solid when you crank down on that friction knob. Now moving up, I mentioned this is their pre-release, quick release clamp. Generally, you can get it, the base model comes with the little knob clamp here. It's a little bit smaller than this one. This came off of the medium Highline. The clamp knob is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be more or less like the one you see here or the one on the little Highline Mini. And speaking of that medium-sized Highline, if you want to get a size comparison of the two, this one, the Highline Small, is more or less just a scaled down version of the medium. They have the same type of knobs. They have the friction knobs. This clamp, quick release clamp, was a prototype from, I don't know, maybe a year ago. I was helping them out with some R&D. And the new pre-release clamp, guys, I gotta say, is light years ahead of this guy here. So this is not the clamp that is going to be put in production. This is the older version. This is actually an older version of a Highline. They've changed a few things on it over the years. So this, as far as I know, will be the quick release clamp that will be coming on the small Highline if you choose that as an option. Overall, guys, I love the aesthetics of this one. I mentioned in that Highline Mini review, I'm more leaning towards the subdued color schemes. I don't like bright colors in my equipment. That's just me. This one is in their gunmetal and black configuration that comes in, I think, 6 different versions. You can get an all black ball, all black clamps. I think different combinations of red, green, blue, or all gunmetal. You can check the website for all the color schemes. But all that being said, this looked great. I used it on a little small cheap K&F Concepts carbon fiber tripod. It matched perfectly. I have to say it looked great if you're into that kind of thing, which I'm usually not, but of course doesn't hurt to look good and work well at the same time. Okay guys, that's enough on the technical aspects here. Let's just sum up my experience and my thoughts on the small Highline Ballhead from the Colorado Tripod Company. Let's talk in terms of bottom line on the small Highline from the Colorado Tripod Company. Personally, between the 3 ball heads, my trusty medium size Highline and the mini Highline, I have to say I like the small the best. Now, why is that? Personally, I'm not the type of person that says every job looks like a nail, but I shoot so many different cameras. I shoot, of course, medium format film. I shoot large format film, 5x7 and 4x5. I shoot crop sensor digital cameras. I shoot full frame DSLRs. I shoot full frame mirrorless cameras. So I shoot a lot of different camera setups. That is the reason why I like the small, I think, for everyday carry over the mini and the medium. The mini, great. It's small, it's super light, it's super small. It's great for vlogging. It's great for pairing with an ultralight travel tripod if you're trying to keep weight down for backpacking, that kind of thing. It also is very close to weight capacity for the medium. This guy holds 75 pounds. This one holds 50 pounds. So it can virtually handle all the camera systems that I run with a medium ball head, just in a lot smaller form factor. Now, talking about clamps, I love the quick release clamp that they're working on here. That would probably be my choice if you're going with the small Highline ball head. Keep in mind that's going to up your price just a little bit. Just looking at the website here, if you go with the small Highline with that quick release clamp, which is on pre-order, by the way, you're going to be looking at make sure I get it right, $149 US for this exact setup here. Of course, you have a lot of color options. If you go with the knob release clamp, the more simple release, you're going to be looking at just $99. So that's going to be shaving 50 bucks off the total package if you don't want the quick release. Now, who's going to get the most use out of this, folks? I hesitate to say that virtually any photographer could get use out of this. I shot it with my medium format Bronica GS1. I've had my Canon 5D Mark III on there, and I've had my A7R Mark I and Mark III on there as well. It handled all the camera setups beautifully, no drifts. It's light enough to be considered a travel ball head, if it is such a thing, but it was be more than enough for even some dedicated studio work too. So I think you can use it in a lot of different situations. It's not the biggest, it's not the smallest, it's not the cheapest, it's not definitely the most expensive ball head around there. It's just a nice, serviceable ball head that I think you're going to literally get years of use out of. And just speaking of ball heads, guys, literally while I've been filming this, I noticed something on the front page of Colorado Tripod Company's website. What the f is that? That is apparently their new iteration of the Aspen ball head. I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, I was involved in the R&D on the original Aspen ball head. That thing looks insane. Just something to mention in real time here. Can't wait to see what they're doing with that. Let me know your thoughts on that Sputnik looking thing. You know, where to put all that. Now, speaking of the new stuff too, folks, I mentioned that I've started to at least switch to fluid heads over ball heads for most of my large format work and even some of my just regular shooting. I want to let you know I have the Colorado Tripod Company's Centennial 4 Series tripod on the way, or coming when they're available. Those are more or less a systematic tripod. You can see them with a bowl or a flat top. This one has a flat top, and I can't wait to get my hands on that, put my fluid head on there, and see if these are going to be the same quality as all the other tripods and ball heads that I've saw from the Colorado Tripod Company. Okay, folks, that is going to wrap up the review of Colorado Tripod Company's small Highline ball head. Nice tweener option if you're looking for a heavy-duty, lightweight, small ball head for your shooting. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Put those down there where you know where they go. Till next time, I'm Adam Welch. Thanks a lot for being here, everybody.